Okay, let's dive right in. What if I told you there's a molecule out there that might just hold one of the keys to turning back the clock on our cells? We're going to be looking at a peptide that is making some serious waves in longevity circles. And not just because it's another supplement, but because it's designed to repair the very source of cellular aging. I mean, just imagine for a second. What if you could reach inside your own cells and fine-tune their little powerhouses, the mitochondria, to get back that youthful energy and function? It honestly sounds like something straight out of science fiction, right? Well, it might be closer to reality than you think. Meet SS-31, also known as Elamipretide. It's this tiny little protein, just 4 amino acids long, that biohackers are getting really excited about. They're exploring it for everything from anti-aging and boosting brain power to just optimizing their physical performance. But here's where the story gets really interesting. SS-31 wasn't cooked up in some Silicon Valley anti-aging lab for billionaires. Nope. Its roots are actually in the fight against a very rare and absolutely devastating disease. And this is a huge deal for this peptide, but we need to be crystal clear about something. This is the only FDA-approved use for SS-31. So every other application we're about to talk about, that's a journey into completely off-label, uncharted territory. So people with Barth syndrome have faulty cardiolipin. Now, you can think of cardiolipin as the mortar that holds the bricks of the mitochondrial wall together. Without it, their cellular engines just crumble. SS-31 was literally designed to be the perfect patch for this very specific, very serious problem. And the results? They were nothing short of astounding. In the clinical trials, patients saw a 30 to 40% improvement in muscle strength. Some of their heart function markers jumped by nearly 50%. This was an absolute game changer, and it proved that SS-31's unique approach was actually working. So the big question is, how does this tiny little peptide pull off such a remarkable feat? Well, it all comes down to a direct, hands-on repair job happening inside our cellular power plants. The secret is its almost magnetic attraction to that molecule we just mentioned, cardiolipin. Think of cardiolipin as the essential framework for the assembly line that produces energy in our mitochondria. As we get older, or in diseases like Barth syndrome, that assembly line starts to rust and basically fall apart. And this shows its three-step mission perfectly. First, SS-31 goes on a search and destroy mission for damaged cardiolipin. Second, it latches on and stabilizes the whole structure, patching up that rusty assembly line. And third, this supercharges energy production. You get more of the good stuff, ATP, and less of the harmful exhaust, which is called reactive oxygen species, or ROS. It really is a vicious cycle breaker. Now, just to put this into perspective, SS-31 is really in a class of its own. You see, while other peptides on this chart, like MOTC or humanin, they're kind of like managers that shout orders at the cell. SS-31 is the engineer that rolls up its sleeves, gets its hands dirty, and physically fixes the machinery itself. Okay, so now that we've got the science down, let's shift gears a bit. Let's see how this incredible technology is actually being used out in the real world, in the biohacking and longevity communities. Biohackers aren't just chasing a longer life, they're after a longer health span. And what does that mean? It means more years of feeling vibrant, sharp, and strong. And some of the animal studies are hinting that SS-31 could be a key to unlocking that potential, maybe by reversing those age-related drops in energy and physical capacity. Now, when we start talking about dosage, the biohacking approach is a completely different world from the clinical one. We're talking about a much, much lower dose for a very different purpose. So here's the bottom line. That 40 milligram clinical dose, that's for people whose mitochondria are severely broken because of a genetic condition. But for a healthy person who just has normal age-related decline, a much smaller dose, somewhere between 5 to 10 milligrams, is often all it takes to see a real difference. Because SS-31 is basically like a structural support beam for your cells, daily injections are the best way to keep those levels consistent. A really popular strategy is this 1 month on, 1 month off cycle. It seems to give your body that therapeutic boost without, completely breaking the bank. Okay, before anyone gets too excited and rushes online to look this up, we have to have a serious talk about the risks. This is absolutely not a decision to be taken lightly. The good news is that in those rigorous clinical trials, SS-31 has proven to be very safe. The most common side effects are just minor reactions right at the injection site. And really importantly, it doesn't mess with your hormones. So, from a pure safety standpoint, the clinical data looks very, very promising. But, and this is a huge but, here is the elephant in the room. The SS-31 you find online is the Wild West of supplements. It's totally unregulated. That means you have no earthly idea what you're actually putting into your body. It's a game of Russian roulette. And the stakes? Well, they're your health. Because of these really serious risks, the message has to be clear. Please do not try this at home. If you are ever going to explore a powerful compound like this, you absolutely must do it under the supervision of a qualified doctor who can source it from a trusted, legitimate compounding pharmacy. So SS-31 offers this fascinating glimpse into a future where we might literally be able to repair our bodies from the inside out. But it also forces us to ask a really tough question. How far are we willing to go in our pursuit of a longer, healthier life? And what are the risks we're willing to take to get there?